I speak with Americans for Prosperity and Dave Spady. We just did a forum up in Los Angeles, and I have a presentation on the whole water crisis and show how it is translated into dollars for the Democratic campaign and candidates in the Democratic Party. It starts with this map. I have this on a huge poster that I usually, when I speak somewhere, I put it up. I know you can't see it very well, but you can see the colors that stand out the most are yellow and red. These are from this is a representation of the jurisdictions from 9 different UN treaties, United Nations treaties, that dictate control over America. If it's red, little to no human use. If it's yellow, highly controlled use. You see, California is mostly red. This Proposition 1A is nothing more than funding this agenda. Most of you who do your homework have probably heard of it as Agenda 21. Others probably hear it more in its more sanitized form of sustainable development. And so my campaign, the reason I'm running is to get rid of sustainable development in the city of Brea and to help people like Sean and Greg and others get it out of their cities as well. There's a movement going on nationwide, and that's starting to happen. 9 states have actually passed laws forbidding and rejecting sustainable development legislation and policies within city government. So with this water bond, they tried to pass it in 2009. It was an $11 billion bond, and it never made it to the legislature because it was just politically unpopular. So what did they need? Whenever the Democrats need to pass something and take money out of your pocket, what do they have to do? They have to manufacture a crisis. Yeah. Never let a crisis go to waste. Wrong manual. Go to waste. So we had 3 months of unusually low rainfall, December, January, and February, which typically everybody's used to having a lot of water. So they seized upon that and said, aha, we have a major catastrophic drought. But I want to just show you a couple pictures. This is the picture you most often see on the news, which is Lake Shasta up in Northern California. About half full, looks extremely dire and catastrophic, doesn't it? Yeah. Look at all the water missing out of there. Boats are sitting on dry land, and they tell you this is proof of the drought. And yet if you go 6 miles to the to the west, you have Whiskeytown Lake, same watershed. Why is this one full to capacity? Because in January of this year, when the rainfall was low and they had their action plan ready to go, Nancy Pelosi and Darrell Steinberg, with money from Tom Steyer, quietly passed a law to increase the pass-through. This is what rain that comes out of springs and runs from when rain falls on the ground and runs into streams. The percentage of water by law that must go to the ocean and cannot be drafted or touched for human use. Does anyone know what that percentage is? Up until January, it was 80%. All the water that flows, natural flow in California, must go to the ocean. In January, Pelosi and Steinberg raised it to 90%. This is Sacramento River right below Shasta. It's August. Everybody knows in August at low rainfall, all of our creeks and rivers get a little low, right? Yeah. Sacramento River at August 28th, 5 feet above flood stage. Wow. There's no drought. They're just letting the water run to the ocean. And this is why.
Agenda 21.
Because you can't get government to control a resource unless you declare it to be in a crisis. And therefore, government has to step in and save us all from that crisis. And that's the objective. Right now, they're going after the groundwater. Agenda 21, I'll read another time. I'll read the quote right out of the Agenda 21 guidance and formulation documents, which say one of their biggest objectives is to eliminate private property rights. Because private property rights, they say, acknowledge is the biggest driver of a nation's prosperity and wealth. But it also contributes to social injustice. And so we can't, we meaning the perpetrators of Agenda 21, we can't force our agenda on the world for global governance until we can eradicate social injustice, so we have to get rid of private property. The biggest bastion of private property in the world is the United States. So one of the things you have with your private property is groundwater rights. Legislation's going through right now to eradicate all groundwater rights to individuals and eliminate that from your private property rights. Why? Because we're in a drought, there's no water, because we all know it's flowing to the ocean instead of going into our reservoirs. So this water bond 1A is just simply a rehash of what they tried to do in 2009. Out of the $7.15 billion, only $2.7 billion is allocated for reservoirs and storage, but they don't specify what that is. Water storage now is defined also as groundwater. So what they want to use that money for is to come seize your property for some environmental infraction and then buy it from you and pay you a low market price for it so they can now have your groundwater. So there is no specific locations as to where they're going to build reservoirs. $258 million of this bond is to remove 4 of the most productive dams in the state, the Klamath Dam system, which they've made a pact with the Klamath Indians to remove those dams by 2017. They need money to do it, and this is what the money's for. So they're taking out dams when they tell you this is for water storage. So when you just Google it, Americans for Prosperity, Dave Spady has a excellent 5-minute YouTube video, Dave Spady, S-P-A-D-Y, on this. And all of the things you need to know about the specifics. It all goes for the UN NGOs, the San Gabriel Mountains Conservancy, the over in Coachella Valley Conservancy. They get $115 million to maintain and manicure sand dunes out by the Salton Sea. How's that helping with water? It's beyond me. But anyhow, as Connie will tell you, I speak too much, and I'm sorry for taking up so much time. I have some more documents and interesting pictures and things, but vote no on Proposition 1, obviously. Okay.
So, let's see. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do Measure J. Measure J. And for that, Sean, you're going to go talk about Measure J.
Okay, so brief outline of Measure J. Measure J is a $574 million bond measure that was approved by the North Orange County Community College District for the November election. And if it were, how many of you have been following, know anything about Measure J? Okay. Based on the advertisement that you've seen, does Measure J cover anything other than veterans? Pretty much all about veterans. It's all about making veterans, helping veterans come back from combat, helping veterans who've given so much to us, and kind of righting the wrongs that this government has done to veterans, particularly Veterans Affairs is specifically mentioned in a lot of the advertising. I find that very ironic, because the scandal with Veterans Affairs was that we, the people, showered money on that agency because we respect veterans, we honor veterans, we have tremendous respect for what they have done for us. And they squandered that money. Yes. Then they demanded more. We gave them more. They squandered that. This particular bond measure, $4 million of the $574 million goes for the upgrades for a veterans center. So what are they going to do with the other $570 million? Well, Barry and I were, where's Barry? Oh, there you are. We were at the North Orange County Community College, and Zonia as well. We were all at the North Orange County Community College District meeting where this was approved. And it was a phalanx of teachers and faculty from the Community College District that spoke in favor of this. And what they kept saying was, you know, the roofs are really leaking. The windows are leaking. This needs to be done. We need to repaint. Folks, that's maintenance. That is a maintenance obligation. Maintenance is supposed to come out of your general fund. They have not been doing that. Now, if I were to give, anyone has a guess, those of you who know, and I bet you know, Joe, so don't answer, but those of you who don't know, if you were to guess how many members of the North Orange County Community College District make over $100,000 a year?
All of them.
280.
80?
280. I didn't even know there was 200. I don't think there was that many teachers. I know there was not that many teachers when I was going to Fuller College. This is why they have a maintenance problem, because the money is being diverted for pay and benefits for the teachers.
Amen.
I'll take another amen. But this is, and so the ballot designation, they claim that none of this money is going to go for pay and benefits. That's not true. Because what they're going to do, if this passes, they're going to offload their maintenance obligation onto us. We will pay it in the form of $40 in property taxes for every $100,000 in assessed value. If your house's assessed value is $500,000, you pay $5,000 for this bond before it's finished. And you're paying for it to pay for their salaries, because they've taken too much of that budget for the salaries and not enough for maintenance. So we need to tell them enough is enough. We give you the money to run the system. We give you enough if you put a reasonable amount aside for maintenance, and you need to start doing that. So vote no on Measure J.
Okay, and now we are, let's see, there's no more candidates, and that's all the measures we're going to go ahead and talk, and now we're going to get to hear from